Scott Brown here. 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 Oh hi. Scott Brown here. 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 That was a bad idea. Scott Brown here. 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 Sun Smart Scott Brown here. Scott Brown here. Scott Brown here. Scott Brown here. Welcome to another exciting episode of Scott Brown Carpentry. Scott Brown here. Welcome to episode 300. I thought of ways to mark this milestone, you know, episode 300. It's not a small milestone considering the effort that I put into each video. 300 of them is kind of crazy. But I thought I'd just tell a story. And this story kind of led to this YouTube channel. So if you've been watching the channel since 2018, episode 1, you'll know that I set a goal to make 100 videos inside of 1 year. So the reason I set a goal in 2018 was because I have a tendency to be a perfectionist. I know that if I don't have a deadline, I'll spend more time on the video to make it better and better and better. Now that's not how you get better. The way you get better is by putting something out and then going, well, I'll do better on the next one. And then you do that week after week, month after month. Before you know it, your first video and your most recent video don't look anything alike. Back in 2012, I set a different goal, but it had the same sort of mindset behind it. So I tried to build something on every continent. So the whole idea was that, the whole idea of that goal was back in 2012 I was traveling and I hadn't left the North Island of New Zealand since I was a kid, since my parents immigrated from Scotland when I was 18 months old. And then in 2012 I went over to Scotland and I ended up traveling all around Europe. And I remember I was in, can't remember what country, but I was in Europe and I was thinking to myself, this is so awesome, why didn't I do this sooner? I need to make sure that I continue doing this some way. And shortly after that, I came up with a goal to try and build something on every continent. Africa, Europe, Asia, North America, South America, Antarctica, and here in Australasia. So 7 continents of the world. It wasn't about the 7 continents. I didn't want to climb mountains and do that kind of thing. I just wanted to make sure that I kept traveling because I got a lot from it. So I make the rules. I'm going to start off with that. So the achievements are, I technically did it. Let's just put it that way. Europe was Scotland and England, working and living in Scotland and England, building a thatched cottage in the Isle of Wight and working on many apartments and hotels. I've done videos about that, which I'll link below if you want to check that out. That was what I counted for Europe. And then because I was so close to the north of Africa, I flew to Morocco and I was trying to figure out something to build there. I was staying at my Uncle Sandy's house at the time and I had this birdhouse that I sort of assembled and painted and cut into little sections and it was flat packed. And he came into the room when I was packing my bags ready to fly out the next morning. He's like, well, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, oh, it's like a flat packed birdhouse and when I go to Marrakesh I'm going to get the bus to the desert and I'm going to put this birdhouse. And he's just looking at me like, what are you doing? I literally flew to Marrakesh. I figured out how to do one of the desert tours that they do and I caught the bus out to the desert, the Sahara Desert, rode camels and stayed in a canvas tent and yeah, then I assembled that birdhouse, put it on a stick and left it in the desert. So that birdhouse is out there somewhere in the desert, or maybe it's fallen apart, who knows. But the whole point was I went to Morocco, went somewhere that I never thought I would go. After that, Jess and I decided to come back to New Zealand, and I'm counting New Zealand as my Australasia part. I built here since I was 17 years old, I grew up here. But shortly after that, I decided to do the Asia part of the trip. New Zealand's always had this connection with Nepal. That's because Sir Edmund Hillary was the first person to climb Mount Everest. So I flew there without a plan. I went there by myself, got to Kathmandu on the day of Buddha's birthday, which I had no idea. The streets were just manic. I was in the back of the taxi from the airport and the driver was honking the horn non-stop from the airport to the hotel. Now I'm pretty sure that's pretty normal for Kathmandu, but Buddha's birthday, it was just next level. As the days went by, I explored Kathmandu and everything, and all the while I was on a website called Workaway, trying to figure out, you know, what I was going to build. Workaway is like a site that has people that have accommodation and they need people who have labor. In exchange for labor, they let you stay at their place. So I found a place called Heaven Hill. I'll put the name here because I don't want to get it wrong. That's the town that it's in. And it's basically a small village on top of a hilltop, with like a gravel road going up there. And there's a school and house and a well, and it's in the middle of the Himalayas. And while I was there, I used slate rock and bamboo and a spade and an axe. I dug out the whole section and I built like a outdoor seating area. And the slate rock was from the mountain and I used that as the part you sit on. And the bamboo was also on the hill. And I put that into the ground as a bit of a retaining wall to form the seat. And then I technically built something in Asia. I went back to New Zealand shortly after that, and Jess and I had already grown tired of being back home and we wanted to go back to Europe pretty much from the time we landed back in New Zealand. So we started planning a trip back to Scotland, and I booked it to go via Canada. Jess and I made friends with someone in Canada while we were traveling around Europe. Shout out to Marshall. A friend of theirs had this fence between two houses, and basically their kids own the house at the back and they own the house at the front, and they had a fence in between. So they wanted a gate so the grandkids could like run back and forth between the two houses. And I went out there and I met them and formed this gate in the middle of this fence, and now their kids can run back and forth. And then I technically built something in Canada. But yeah, that was 4 continents, right? Is that what we're up to? Now the other part of the goal, build something on every continent before I turn 30. My birthday is July 23rd. This July 23rd, which will be in about a week or something, I'm going to turn 35. So obviously goal unachieved. I basically got to shortly before I turned 30 and we moved to Scotland. We set up a life there and that kind of took over. I still had to build on South America and Antarctica. Antarctica's a bit tricky. South America, I think I could still do that, but life got in the way. Like I said at the start of the video, this goal wasn't about traveling to every corner of the globe. This goal was about pushing myself to continue doing something that I knew was good for me. Make 100 videos in a year and you get better at making videos. If the things that you learn from traveling expand your mind, then keep traveling. That's sort of how I looked at it. And in that time, I was getting a lot from working in Edinburgh and understanding how I could run a building business and ultimately starting a YouTube channel. That's what took over. I do well with long-term goals, so let's push it out to age 40. I heard that they're building a new base in Antarctica, so maybe that's the job for me to do. But in the short term, I'd love to build a brand new house on this channel, start to finish. I've always wanted to do that and film the whole process. So if you have a house or you know somebody who needs a house built in Auckland or elsewhere in New Zealand, I'll put the website contact details down below. And I've got other goals. Jess and I would love to build our own house one day. And I've got to shout out Jess as well. She is behind the scenes on everything that we do here. This channel wouldn't be here if Jess wasn't there with me. Very big shout out to you, even though you're probably watching this video next to me. Also, massive shout out to Pido and Richard and Cameron and Gaston, and you guys have made this channel even better, so thank you.